Boundaries, the secret to feeling safe in love. Boundaries aren't just about sharing what we want or saying no or yes. Boundaries are an extension and an expression of the deepest parts of ourselves. Boundaries are a statement about who we are, but also sharing the most intimate, vulnerable parts of ourselves. We know that when we put boundaries up, we are taking a risk, if you like, of the other person rejecting that boundary. Not necessarily invading our privacy or pushing against us or attacking us or being abusive. Of course, that occurs in its extremes, but more so just pushing back relationally and emotionally on that boundary. In other words, they may get offended when we say no. That doesn't feel good. Or, hey, the way you're speaking to me doesn't feel like it's caring. I want you to stop. My request is. That can push on other people's insecurities. That runs a higher risk of them shutting down, them moving into their own protective and defensive patterns. Not because they want to push you away, but because they have unresolved, unprocessed stuff within themselves, and all they know how to do is push other people away when they feel threatened so that they can feel safe. So boundaries are so much more than just words or statements. They're opportunities and invitations to deepen in connection and intimacy, to see each other in another way, but we have to get past feeling offended and being offended so quickly and taking it personally so quickly and being reactive so quickly. And I am guilty of that for sure. I think I have something called rejection sensitivity dysphoria, which means I have a sensitivity to interpreting people sharing with me or telling me that I'm wrong. I've done something wrong. I make it mean that I am wrong. And I become hypersensitive to that when I'm in a distressed state, when I'm in an overwhelmed state, when I'm in a dysregulated state. That's when it really shows up. Now, that's often linked to trauma and volatility and violence and a disorganized attachment style. It's often linked to being exposed to being in an environment. You may be able to relate to this where low self-worth is promoted, where you may be beaten down as a child physically, but also emotionally, where you're told or shown you're not enough, or whatever you do doesn't matter as much, or you can't really be yourself and you have to wear masks. But if we can get beyond that onset of sensitivity that is maybe hypervigilant, boundaries are an invitation to also get to know more about ourselves, where we could do better as humans, and voicing our boundaries, because so many people, and again, you may be able to relate to this, did not have a voice growing up. And I mentioned growing up a lot. I mentioned our formative years and our childhood a lot, because so much of who we are as adults was forged in the fire of childhood, was forged in the fire of our formative years, because that's when we are really absorbing the world around us in this hypnagogic state and this self-referential aspect of living through the world, meaning that we make everything mean it's all about us. The imprints that are being laid down are so potent. We're really taking everything on neurologically, emotionally, behaviorally, relationally, spiritually. And so it's not about undoing the past, but it is about relating to it at times when necessary differently so that we can live a healthier, more whole life. And that's really, really important. So boundaries are an extension of utilizing and using our voices in really healthy ways. But if we're both expressing from an honest place within, now we're learning more about self and about the other. Now we're growing together. And that, my friends, is very powerful.